Hi there, my name's Dave from Running Start Australia and welcome to another video session. Today we're going to talk about two very common runner injuries or complaints that we see from particularly new runners and experienced runners as well. First one is shin splints. That's pain usually along the front of the foot, front of the shin, either on the outside or the inside. And the other is plantar fasciitis, or is tightness and tenderness on the underside of your foot. Now this whole area of your leg's kind of quite complicated. There are muscles in here, but there's also a lot of fascial tissue as well, which is really tight. Imagine it like a rubber band. There's a lot of this really tight connective tissue through your foot and through your ankle and through your calf, which doesn't often respond to massage terribly well or to stretching. So we need to get a little bit more involved with it. So I'm going to show you what you need today. First of all is a nice comfy place, ideally a firm surface because we are going to be using a foam roller. So I have with me a foam roller, which we're going to use for our shins and we're going to use for our calves a little bit as an option. But if you don't have a foam roller, and I would recommend you need these anyway, but if you don't have a roller, it's okay because you can just use some bouncy balls. I've got two different sizes today. I've got a little rubber bouncy ball and I also have a cricket ball. Tennis ball, softball, pretty much any kind of firm ball is going to be good for you. If you're just starting with massage, or you've never had remedial or any sort of myofascial release before, you might want to start with something a little bit lighter on your body, like a tennis ball. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with plantar fasciitis. So at the bottom of the foot, very often people will experience pain during run or after running along the inside of their foot, just in their arch, maybe at the front, maybe at the back. So one of the most immediate ways we can provide relief to this, and definitely is a great idea to do it before you run as well as after your run, is to use a ball on it. Either from ideally a seated or a standing position. It's as simple as literally putting that ball under your foot, finding that tight area or the area that you generally experience tightness, and just slowly rolling your foot over it. You probably want to spend 1 to 2 minutes on each foot, working from front to back. So using the whole length of the foot, even though you might only find the pain or discomfort in a really specific portion of your foot, it's worth exploring the whole foot. Okay? Have an experiment with different ball sizes as well. A larger ball is going to give you broader coverage. You could also use a spiky ball as well. That will give you not necessarily a better stretch, but it might feel good and it might feel a little bit different as well. Have a bit of a play up the side of the feet as well. See how that feels on your body. So that's going to be first bit number 1 for plantar fasciitis. And I should say that if you've got plantar fasciitis or shin splints, it's probably worth doing this whole routine or exploring all of these mobility exercises because everything is so interconnected in this area. And sometimes we don't know the origin of where the tightness is coming from. So start with your balls on your feet, get everything feeling kind of good. From there, let's move on to your calf. Calves can be a real pain to stretch and mobilize. First point of call would be using a slightly larger ball. You're not going to get as much with this because you need to put a little bit of body weight down onto it. So I'm going to start with the ball, and all I'm going to do is place it under my calf and then just wiggle it around under there until I find a spot where I'm like, that's the spot. Should be a good kind of hurt. Shouldn't be painful, but it should be like, wow, that's tight. And what you want to do, most important bit of stretching and mobilizing, is to breathe. You want to find that spot and you want to breathe, and you just want to visualize that muscle softening. So you don't want to sort of be on the spot and be like really tight, tensing through the foot, because you're not going to allow your body to release that muscle. We're actively breaking up the muscle fibers by applying pressure here. Now, if that's too much, use a slightly bigger ball, or don't go quite as hard on it, or use a roller. If you're really tender, probably using a roller. Generally don't recommend rollers for calves because most people can't get enough downwards pressure on there. Obviously, it's fine for things like glutes and legs because most of my body weight is in this area, but to get enough pressure through the foam roller on my calf here, I have to work very hard. If you only have a roller, You can double up the legs and kind of even lift up onto the hands to bring more weight to your calf and in the back of the leg. But it's often not as effective as using a ball. So, balls are your best friend. Experiment with different sizes. For a little bit more of a focused or pinpoint, you can use a smaller ball, but you might get the same pressure result. You want to work your way up the calf, up the side, both sides, and the middle using the ball. Mobilize that whole area through there. So now we've worked the bottom of the foot and we've worked through the back of the calf. So if you do have a lot of tightness through the calves as well, and you're experiencing plantar fasciitis, those would be my primary areas to start. As another option, if you have absolutely no tools, you can also sit with your hands very gently, finding the spots, and then just applying some pressure in there as well. It can be good, just holding on to the calf in the area that feels tight, giving a bit of a wiggle, and feeling it let go. All right, let's move on to the front of the leg, the shins. So you got your tibia, which is the bone that runs right down the middle of or off to the medial side of your foot, right down here. We've got a little bit of muscle and tissue that runs down either side. So it can feel really, it's often called shin splints because people feel like there's like a splint or a splinter in their shins, but it's not that. It's actually, it's muscular. So if you're really tender in this area, first thing I would do is to start with my finger because this can be very effective in here. Finding the edges of your shin bones and just running it down, using a thumb, wiggling it underneath the shin. Finding the sweet spot and being like, yep, that's it. Give it a bit of a massage, hold it, hang it out there for about 20-30 seconds before moving on a little bit. Again, it's worth mobilizing the whole shin. And you can see this is right near our calf as well. So that's why we kind of want to treat this area as one unit because things can be very interconnected here, like a very tight-knit family. Once you've done the interior side, we can move along to the lateral side. So same sort of thing. This can be a little bit trickier to get through, but just finding those tight areas, that's your first point of call. Second point of call, I would probably use a foam roller. All you have to do here is bring your body weight forward. I'm going to bring one shin onto your roller. And you're just going to rotate until you can get on. It looks very awkward, and it is kind of awkward, but you're just going to roll backwards and forwards until you can find that bit on the shin. And you're like, yep, that's it right there. You might even have one foot off the back. Roll up and down maybe 10 or so times to get up and down the shin. You can do the same on the inside as well. Slight rotation of the foot out and getting in there. Mobilizing through the shins. You can also go straight on as well. Use the roller, have a play around, find the spot that works for you. Last little thing I would recommend is doing some ankle mobility. So very often we can end up with really stiff ankles. Easiest way to begin stretching this. Start with the knee just over the ankle. Other leg slightly backwards. And then we're just going to bring this front knee over the toe. And while we do so, trying to keep the foot grounded. Now it can actually help to wrap your hand just around the ankle and bring the body weight forward. You might press slightly on the knee, but you'll really want to focus on keeping the heel grounded because if you lift it up, we're kind of defeating the whole purpose. Just moving that backwards and forwards, mobilizing through the ankle. Maybe 10 or 12 times each leg. And just doing that daily. It mightn't feel like it's doing a lot, but do it frequently enough and in combination with that calf stretch and that calf rolling. The goal is to try and loosen up everything to give you the best chance of moving without any discomfort. If you've tried all of this and you're still finding there's some niggles happening, I would definitely recommend going and seeing an exercise physiologist, a physiotherapist, or a medial therapist, and just explaining them what's going on, and they can do a full body assessment on you and see what else is happening. Sometimes shin pain can actually originate from up here in the quads, which sometimes can be originated from glute weakness. So sometimes it goes even beyond that, but this is a really nice starting area. And even if you've just had a really rough session and the calves or the feet are tired or sore or fatigued, or you've been walking a lot, it's good to just stand on a ball and roll it on out. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Dave from Running Start Australia. If you would like to have a look at some more videos, you can see what else we've got in our collection, or you can visit us at runningstart.com.au if you would like to start your running adventure. Till next time, thank you so much. Bye.